And welcome back to Sports Talk. Doug Miles and Don Henderson with you as we come to you today on Monday, June 24th of 2024. And we're going to have a guest on we haven't had on in I don't know how long. It's been way too long, Don, but we're going to talk with our old buddy, Pete the Prophet, who has a lot of interesting things going on. Talk a little bit about horse racing and what he's been up to. So, Don, let's get to it, huh?
Well, Pete, it's great to have you back on with us, number one. Number two, you transitioned from New York around the Belmont area to Florida to Canada. Tell us a little bit about this. You're now a horse owner rather than a horse bettor.
I'm a horse owner, but I want to start by telling you that I got interviewed by the Canadian Thoroughbred Times, and then I got interviewed by some podcast. And I think 12 a Canadian podcast. I think 12 people listen to that podcast. So I'm wondering if I'm going to beat the 12. So I'm really
we have
big
15 listening to
Canada.
this.
Okay, look at that.
That
so,
includes you, me, and Don.
Shot,
so you already beat it.
Oh, good. Then I feel much better about that then.
No, we have many more than that. We have quite a few. Many platforms we're on, so you'll beat that easily.
Oh, platforms. Look at that word. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. Yeah, my life took quite a turn when I came down here, and I came with 3 other friends that threw in. We all threw $10,000 each, and we decided to buy a horse, and then a second horse, and then to make a very, very long story short, they're pretty much out of it, those 3, and it's just me, and now I have 44 horses in 8 different states. So. And then we're going to go to Del Mar this year also, which is another dream come true. So this has been quite a ride over the last 2 years.
You know, I worked at Philadelphia Park for a number of years, way back maybe 20 years ago. And maybe you explain to us, because between the trainers and the stalls, and it's a rather expensive. You have 44 horses. I mean, you're asking a lot of money.
It's a lot of, you know what, it's really cash flow. I mean, that's what it ends up becoming. And also, it's also a little bit, you know, I'm a little bit of a shopper. I feel like I thought I was going to stop at 30, and all of a sudden I'm at, over 40. I get a little bit, crazed if there's something new out there. It's like a new shiny penny that I have to have. So I go out and claim something else. But they obviously have to perform so then I can, pay the bills. Because, right there, let's just average it. The training rates vary. If you're at small tracks, they're maybe $50 a day. But at the bigger tracks, it's between 80 and 100, 110. So if you figure that, and then the cost of the blacksmith, and then the vet, it's a minimum of $3,000 per horse. So that's your figures, and that's the figure you have to make sure you have in earnings, or horses that are getting claimed from you to recycle the money. And I look at it like the stock market, where if, let's say one of my horses isn't doing good, I'll sell a stock, or a horse in this case, and then use that to go buy something else. So it's very much like the market and what I used to do in the stock market. And so it's all cash flow. It's troublesome because it's not like it goes to one central bank. You have to grab money from other places. Some people wire it in. Some people send you a check. Some 7 days, some 10 days, some's the next day. So it can get a little tight. But for me, it's most important thing is I try to pay everybody right away at the beginning of the month. They've already basically put in 30 days worth of their time and money, and I try to pay them right off the bat, especially the shippers. They're really the unsung heroes of this game and all the work that they do. So I try to do all that. So once in a while, I had to actually stop last month with the claiming because I got wasn't sure where I was going here, and I knew I had to stop claiming for a little bit. But then I had a couple of winners, and so bills are paid, horses are running well, and dreams are starting to come true.
Doug?
Yeah, just to give the people that may not have heard Pete the Prophet with us before, Pete and I go way back. We've known each other since we're in the same first grade class at Floral Park Belrose School, so that's our connection. And Pete, you and I both lived about a mile away from Belmont Racetrack. I guess you went the first time with your dad. How old were you, about 7, 8 years old?
No, actually, it was the first time I ever went was with I think I don't know if you remember him, Gerard Stutzberry.
Oh yeah, right. You did tell me that, right?
Yeah, it was actually in 7th grade of Elmont Memorial High School where he showed me. I think it was Russ Harris or Ray Harrison's picks.
Sure.
He showed me how they put it in there, and then he gave me what his system was, and we went there one day and snuck in over the fence and got in, and had someone make bets for you, and then I was hooked at that moment. So, and think about it, like if we didn't live, I mean, you didn't get into it, but if you're getting into it, a big part of it is because where you lived. Why would, if I was out on the island, 50 miles away, am I going to be going to Belmont? No, I wouldn't. It wouldn't influence you. The high school is right across the street. You could hear the crowd. So you pretty much took me on the path just from that alone.
You could literally smell the track, literally.
Literally smell the track, and heard those roosters. Boy, those roosters can muster up a storm. I tell you that.
And of course, every time they had the Belmont there, the traffic in our area, our town, was immense. Of course, we kind of grew up just knowing, the big races then, living so close. But yeah, my connection was, we went to breakfast at Belmont with, Mom and Dad once in a while. And then a couple of times I'd go in high school. But I guess the only other time was when you and I went, when we were at Adelphi's radio station, we went and called races.
Right. That was pretty much. That was our claim to fame there.
We brought horse racing to college radio.
Yeah, and once again, it was, I think there were 3 people listening then, so we really have increased the 400% increase over what we had at the time. But it's it gets in your blood, and owning is just totally different in the sense of how you handicap and how you look at it. And there's nothing, if I could have been in this game and made no money at all, broke out even every single year, I would do it in a second, because it's just so enticing. There's nothing like that winner's circle. And that's, pretty much the hook when it gets you like that. So
tell me a little bit how you got to Canada, though, because we talked about Belmont, we talked about Gulfstream Park in Florida. But the write-up about you, as I understand it, was really emanates from Canada, and you're working on the Canadian tracks.
Woodbine, right?
Claimed some Woodbine, yeah. So I met last year. I was going to go with another trainer up to Woodbine. I had a horse or two I was thinking about claiming and talking to him about it, and he didn't treat me right, let's just say. And I ended up running into Marty Drexler, and he knew a little bit about me, and I certainly knew a lot about him. I saw his operation, saw how good his horses looked. He was winning at 20+%. His horses, some of them got just better, and it made me know that when he came back this year, I wanted to claim a few and send some up with him. So I claimed 3 down here at Gulfstream to go up there with him. I had claimed 2 at Turfway, and they went up there with him, and then a few other scragglers here and there that I got that all went up with him. And he's a tremendous horseman. He's a tremendous operation. I just went there for the first time last weekend, actually, to watch some of my horses run. It's a world-class facility, just a beautiful backside. So it's just another piece of the puzzle. And I really wanted to try also, to Canada. Racing's very different. It's Tapeta turf only, no dirt. So it's just, and then that's just another part, and all of a sudden this year it'll be Del Mar too. So trying to get to all the different parts, all the little tracks I've bet over the years. I kind of want to have a horse in every one of these places.
Doug?
Will you also go to the yearling sales? Is that part of your operation, or strictly clamming?
No, I will lose all my money if I go to the yearling sales. I don't know a thing about breeding. I'm trying to stay in my lane. My lane is definitely claiming. My lane basically is also older horses to claim, and I'm going to stick right in that lane. I don't have any interest. When I had there was a stable down here, a syndicate called Zilla, when you would put in a couple of percent on every horse, but I'm not picking them, I'm not running it, I'm not picking the jockey, so that wasn't any fun for me. I learned a lot, but it wasn't fun. And then as compared to if you're going to get a yearling, I mean, if I don't know anything about the breeding and I can't go and look at it, or if I'm just jumping in with other people that want to go in, I'm just like buying a lottery ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not into throwing away my money. I mean, maybe you get a home run, but part of the joy of this is you picking it, you picking the spots, you picking the horse, the jockey, where it runs, all the things that are involved in it. So with 2-year-olds or yearlings, it's not for me, and I can't imagine it ever will be. People always say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You'll get into it. You'll love it." I don't see it. It's like if I bet $100 on a horse race, I don't bat an eye. If I bet $1 and throw it into the slots, I cry.
Yeah.
So that's the way I would feel if I threw money into yearlings.
Any particular jockeys that you favor? Because obviously, as you run around the tracks around the country, no matter which way, whether it's the biggest race in the world or whether it's the smallest, the trainers have favorites that they like to use in particular areas. Any particular jockey that you lean toward that you would love to ride your horses?
Yeah, I mean, depending on what track you're on down here in the winter, when all the big jockeys come down here, you basically have the big 3 that come down, the Ortiz brothers and Tyler Gaffalione. So you get them down here, so because the stable's starting to get more of a name, and now the trainers can kind of, now they want to ride your horses. They actually maybe will call you to ride a horse. And my trainer that is down here and also up in New York, Fernando Abreu, he knows a lot of people. So now we get a little bit more power, that's for you, I don't really have a better term for it, that you can use these people. So there's a bunch of jockeys there, Paco Lopez, if you're really including down here, but anywhere else, the jockeys at certain meets that do so well. Like if I have a speed horse down here, Jaramillo is the guy you want, nobody better out of the gate. And so I just try to keep to now at least I feel like I could get the better riders. And I never thought training made that much of a difference, or riders. And now owning, they make a huge difference in the game.
Our guest is Pete the Prophet, joining us today, the owner of his own thoroughbred stable. And I don't know if you want to give the name out, Pete. You're welcome to. But also, my question is, without giving any information you don't need to, how do you make money on as far as purses? What is the percentage that the owner gets? What is the percent? I think people will be interested. What percentage the trainer gets? How does that work?
It's the purse. Let's just throw out $100,000 as a number, and that's certainly not the kind of purses that I'm running for all the time. It's certainly much less than that. But if it's 60% in most racetracks to the winner, then it's 20, 10, usually 6% for fourth, and then they divide up the last 4% among the rest of the participants. So let's say I win 60% of 100,000, I get 60 grand from that. 10,000 goes out. 10% goes out to the jockey. 10% goes out to the trainer.
Oh, it's 10,
so
okay.
At the end of all of that, my profit would be about, and that's before any of the expenses for the month from that particular race. Even though I get 60% of it, it really knocks it down to about a little under 50%. So that's your math there. That's how much money that I get out of that. And then there's some trainers charge an extra percent or two for their barn if they win. It's called a stake. There's all sorts of other things that might pop up, but in general, that's the way you do it. And then the other thing you're trying to do is you're trying to claim a horse and then sell it for more money than it's worth. I've had many that have gone the other way. You claim it for 20,000, and then maybe you got to run it for 10 for it to get claimed, and then so you lose that money, but hopefully you make some money in purses to make up for that. But I've had 2 claims that I took both for $32,000, and both of them got claimed for $80,000 by the time we were done. It was only a few months total, and made some very good purses in the way. So those big ones make up for all the little mistakes. There are a lot of mistakes in this game. I've learned so much as an owner, and I'm just trying to make smarter mistakes, just better, trying to make better mistakes, and then to eventually cut out the mistakes.
You really took my next question away. What was the biggest horse that had claimed on you, and which is the best horse you ever claimed? But you just mentioned two horses that you really moved in the right direction with.
Yeah.
How about one that went the other way?
Yeah, well, plenty of the other way, especially in the beginning when you're just learning the game and you're taking a cheap horse. And the second horse we ever had, our first winner, we claimed it ran a big race that it actually won. So that was our first winner with our second horse. And so when it won, the next time out, it was definitely going to get claimed. And we were the favorite. And it looked fantastic. And we were going to make a little score. And then the horse got into the starting gate, and he flipped. And they scratched him. And then the cycle went down from that point on. We sold him in a race of 6,500, but we had made, it was a loss, but it was about a $5,000 or $6,000 loss total at the end. The one big one was a horse called Bring Me a Check. We claimed it for $32,000. We won a $40,000 claim, or I think that was worth like $80,000 or so. Then we won a non-winners of one. For those in the racing business know what that is. That was about $100,000. We won that one, and then we put him in for an $80,000 price tag. Never thought the horse was going to get taken because if you claim it for 32, who's paying 80 for a horse like that? But in Saratoga, there's a fever. People need horses. They want horses, and I never thought that he'd get claimed. My trainer was not very happy with me, but he just missed. He finished third, lost by a full neck total, but I made very good money on that. So that was a nice little score. But that makes up for, it's almost like gambling. When you get on a hot streak, you start to the air conditioner comes on and you lose your discipline. And I started claiming horses that were not in my system or the things that I wanted to do, and I lost money during that period, which is the same thing I used to do as a bettor. When I was very silly, you get very cocky, and then you put out and you make some really bad bets, and in this case, some really bad claims. But that's why I say the mistakes have been a lot less. I think a tremendous, really nice horses that I own right now, and looking forward and having a good year. I mean, I ended up being in the top 100 in purse money in the country.
Oh wow!
It was like number 80. So that's very prideful for me because obviously the people that win the Derby and big races, they're always going to be in the top. But it's the claiming guys, if they can get in there and getting number 80. I think this year, we're in the 40s this year as of right now. So it's going well. But believe me, you look at the purses. Please don't believe that that's the amount of money that I've won. It's nowhere even close to anything like that. So.
Doug, it's interesting to get a little bit behind the scenes of racing, and Pete's doing a terrific job of explaining it all to us, and it really is a very, very complicated business.
It's very, and also the relationships that you get. It's amazing how this has grown, but it's also amazing the information you get from people or how they know, like there's just so much information and false information on the track, and the learning of it all is something that it's nice to have somebody that can kind of walk you through that. And the first thing that ever happened to me, the main thing, was having a trainer that I could trust. Even if I stunk at doing this, I just couldn't. That was the worst part. I never got into it owning because I didn't really know anybody and didn't trust anybody down in New York. I just happened to meet a trainer at a bar here. We spoke. It never thought it would come from anything. And then from her, I met somebody else. And from her, I met the guy has most of my horses now. And he's taken me, as I think I've taken him. to different heights. And that's all you need sometimes is a break. Some of the best trainers that they got a break. They got a good owner or they got a good horse, and they rode the momentum from that. And the same thing with good owners. You need a good trainer. And I got one, and it worked out. I have a bunch. You grow with this, and as long as I trust and we have a good relationship, I really think I'm a very calm owner because I've been in the game so long playing horses. I know the odds. I know I'm going to win 15% of the time. So that means you're winning every 1.5 out of 10 times. But if I put them in the right spot, if I get a couple of good finishes, then I'm thrilled to death. But honesty was the first thing that was essential to this game, because so many owners get taken. A trainer will, kind of direct them the wrong way, and then they'll take the short money instead of trying to cultivate them to become better owners with more horses. So I've been very lucky in that respect.
Doug?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'll wrap up by just saying, congratulations, Pete. I know you had your own kind of side business, or not side business, but your full-time business that you were able to kind of retire from. You and I are the same age, so you were able to do that and kind of branch out into another career. And congratulations not only on that, but to be able to go for something you've always been interested in, and you're doing well at it. So it ruins the image here, but congratulations, Pete. We're happy for you.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for all of that. I thought when I retired, I thought I'd just be playing pickleball and watching TV, but apparently now I have a complete full-time job. So it is a labor of love. I haven't had that for a lot of, my bookkeeping business was not a labor of love. So this is a labor of love.
Oh, great.
Great.
Don, I'll let you wrap it up.
Well, I just, as I said a minute ago, I think it's great to get a little bit of it. But we always talk about the odds on the horses and the races and trying to select horses to bet and so forth with Pete over the years, whether it was Belmont, whether it was the Kentucky Derby, no matter what. And you look at it from a totally different aspect. And it was nice to have this conversation and learn a little bit about how he has developed from the ground a whole new profession. I think it's terrific.
And if I could just say one last thing, I wish that the game would teach you more of what I've learned. I know sometimes like Naira would run a class, but they don't. It's a very peripheral sort of understanding. They don't give you the really nuts and bolts of how to get a trainer, how to get the cost, all of that. And so unless you just dive in, which is what we ended up doing, it's very, very difficult, because if you go into a syndicate, you're not really learning. You're just kind of going along with it. So for those who want to learn, there is a way. I just wish the industry would kind of promote that more.
Pete, do you want to mention the website or the name, or it's up to you?
The name is Patterpop Racing, Paterpop. We have the one partner was Pat. You have two Peters, so that was TER. And then we have a gentleman named Ray. His nickname is Papa Ray. So there it is, Patterpop. There you go.
Yeah, check that out.
Terrific.
There's a great article, like you said, in the Canadian Thoroughbred News. I happened to see it on the Facebook, actually the Floral Park Facebook page. That's where I saw it, Pete. So we'll post this on that page and hopefully get more than 15 people looking at it.
Excellent. Thank you guys very, very much.
Let's do it toward the end of the year, Pete. Give us a recap at the end of the racing year. That'd be great.
I will, and when I'm broke, I'll be coming to Tampa.
No, you're doing well.
Sleeping on your couch.
Well. God bless you.
Really,
we mean that, because it's tough making a living gambling on the horses. You're doing well the other end, so that's good.
That's great. Thank you guys very much. Means a lot getting support from you guys.
Pete, always terrific to talk to you. A lot of fun. And I can't wait till our next get together and find out how you're moving forward.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be able to share any information. I want people to understand it and love it, and kind of this is all about sharing, and this is about getting that community feel, and that's what I hope to hope people feel that when they talk to me.
Great. Thank you, Pete. Pete the Prophet, our guest.
Great.
And we'll take a break
Thank you
right
guys
now.
very
Be back
much.
in a minute.